The silver ship appeared in Earth's sky on a Tuesday morning. It was huge, bigger than 3 city blocks put together. The metal surface looked smooth like glass, but changed colors as it moved. People on Earth stopped what they were doing and looked up. Cars pulled over. Office workers pressed their faces against windows. Children pointed and asked their parents what it was. Dr. Sarah Chen was eating breakfast when her phone started ringing. She worked at the International Space Center and studied life from other planets. Even though no one had ever found aliens before, her job was to be ready if they showed up. Today they had. "Sarah, get to Luna Station right now," her boss said on the phone. His voice shook with excitement and fear. "They want to talk to us." 3 hours later, Sarah was on a rocket ship heading to the moon. Luna Station was humanity's biggest space base. It had been built for mining and research, but today it would host the most important meeting in human history. The alien ship landed next to Luna Station without making any sound. Sarah watched through the station windows as a door opened in. The ship sighed. The aliens who came out looked almost like tall humans, but their skin was blue-gray and their eyes were much larger. They wore long robes that seemed to glow with soft light. The leader of the aliens stepped forward. When he spoke, his voice came from a small device on his chest that translated his words into English. "Greetings, humans of Earth. I am Kethvar, of the Zephyrian people. We represent the Galactic Council, a group of civilized worlds that work together in peace." The human welcoming team included world leaders, scientists, and military officers. They all tried to look calm, but Sarah could see their hands shaking. This was bigger than anything that had ever happened to humanity. Kethvar continued speaking. "We have been watching your world for some time. Your species has reached the level where contact is appropriate. We are here to help you join the galactic community." The president of Earth's United Government stepped forward. "We welcome you, Kethvar. Humanity is honored by your visit. We have many questions." "Of course you do," Kethvar said. Sarah noticed he spoke like a teacher talking to small children. "Learning is why we are here, but you must understand. Joining the galactic community takes time. Other species have needed many years to learn even the basics of our technology and ways." Kethvar waved his hand, and the air in front of him began to glow. Lights danced between his fingers like tiny stars. The humans gasped and stepped back. "This is what we call essence weaving," Kethvar explained. "It is how we power our ships, communicate across space, and create many useful things. It uses the connection between mind and energy. All advanced species must learn this skill." Sarah watched carefully as the alien made the lights dance. It looked like magic, but she knew it had to be science. Her training taught her to observe and ask questions. "How long does it usually take to learn this?" she asked. Kethvar smiled, but it looked sad. "For most species, many decades. The Crystalline Collective took 80 years to create their first simple light. The Void Touch needed a full century to move a small object. Even the quickest learners, the Helix Empire, required 30 years of constant study. He made the lights disappear with another wave. But do not worry, we are patient teachers. We have brought learning tools that will help your people begin the long journey. Your children's children may see real progress." The other aliens nodded. They pulled out strange devices that looked like metal flowers mixed with glass. When they touched them, the devices glowed softly. "These are learning aids," another alien explained. "They will teach your people to sense energy fields. This is the first step, and it usually takes several years to master." Sarah felt disappointed. Humans had always been quick learners. They had gone from horse-drawn carts to spaceships in less than 200 years. Now these aliens were saying it would take generations to learn their science. The aliens set up a small base on Luna Station. They said they would stay to monitor human progress and provide guidance. Each day, they held classes for selected humans. They taught meditation techniques and had people sit quietly trying to feel energy around them. Most of the human students struggled. They would sit for hours and report feeling nothing special. The aliens nodded and said this was normal. They told stories of other species who had taken years just to sense the first tiny bit of energy. But Sarah noticed something the aliens missed. A few humans seemed to pick things up faster than expected. During one lesson, she saw Dr. Martinez, a physicist, make a very small light appear for just a second. The aliens did not see it because they were helping another student. After 2 weeks of classes, Sarah started her own private experiments. She remembered learning meditation in college for stress relief. The aliens' energy sensing felt similar to those old breathing exercises. Late at night in her quarters, Sarah sat quietly and tried to feel the energy around her. At first, nothing happened, but on the third night she felt something. It was like a warm feeling in her chest that spread to her fingers. She did not tell the aliens about this. Something made her want to keep it secret. Maybe it was the way they talked down to humans, or maybe it was scientific caution. Either way, she decided to learn more on her own first. During the official lessons, Sarah pretended to struggle like the other students, but in private, she practiced every night. The warm feeling got stronger. Soon she could make her hands tingle with energy. By the end of the first month, Sarah could create a tiny spark of light between her fingers. It only lasted for a moment, but it was real. According to the aliens, this should have taken years to achieve. Sarah realized that humans might be better at this than the aliens thought. She began to wonder what would happen if more humans learned in secret. Maybe they could surprise their teachers. Sarah kept her discovery secret for 2 weeks. Every night she practiced making the small lights appear. Each time it got easier and brighter. She could now hold a steady glow for almost a minute. According to the aliens, this should take humans at least 5 years to learn. During the day, she attended the official lessons and pretended to struggle. The aliens praised her for being one of the more promising students when she managed to sense the tiniest bit of energy. If only they knew what she could really do. But Sarah was not the only one hiding something. Dr. James Martinez had also been practicing in secret. He was a quantum physicist who worked on Earth's most advanced computers. During one lunch break, he sat next to Sarah in the station cafeteria. "I need to show you something," he whispered. He looked around to make sure no aliens were nearby. "Meet me in Lab 7 tonight after midnight." Sarah's heart raced. Did he know about her secret practice? Had he discovered something too? That night, Sarah walked quietly through the empty hallways of Luna Station. The aliens were asleep in their quarters, and most humans were either sleeping or working night shifts. Lab 7 was used for basic research, nothing important enough to attract attention. James was waiting for her with Dr. Kim Nakamura, a computer specialist, and Liu Wei, a man Sarah had never met before. Liu looked different from the other scientists. He moved with a calm grace that reminded Sarah of dancers or martial artists. "Sarah," James said, "show them what you can do." Sarah hesitated. These people were almost strangers, but something in their faces made her trust them. She held out her hand and created a ball of light the size of a tennis ball. It glowed steady and bright for 30 seconds before she let it fade. Kim gasped softly. Liu smiled and nodded like he had expected this. "Now watch this," James said. He touched a broken computer tablet on the lab table. Energy flowed from his fingers into the device. The screen flickered and came to life, showing data that had been lost when the tablet broke weeks ago. "Impossible," Sarah breathed. "The aliens said it takes decades to learn healing and repair techniques." "That's what I thought too," James said. "But I've been studying their energy patterns. The math is actually simple. It's like quantum field manipulation, but using consciousness as the control mechanism. Humans have been theorizing about this for years." Liu Wei stepped forward. "My turn," he said quietly. He moved his hands in slow flowing motions like he was doing Tai Chi. The air around him began to shimmer. Then, without touching anything, he lifted a heavy metal tool off the workbench and moved it through the air. "How?" Sarah asked. "I've been practicing martial arts for 40 years, Liu explained. "We learn to feel the flow of energy through our bodies and the world around us. What the aliens call essence weaving is very similar to what we call chi or ki. The movements, the breathing, the focus of mind, it's all the same." Kim pulled out her tablet and showed them notes she had been making. "I've been recording everything. The aliens teach us." Their techniques are complicated, but the basic principles match things humans already know. Meditation, focus, visualization. We've been doing these things for thousands of years. Sarah felt excitement building in her chest. Are you saying that humans are naturally good at this? Better than good, James said. I think we might be naturals. The aliens approach this like a math problem, all logic and rules and careful study. But humans learn through feeling and intuition. We don't need to understand exactly how it works. We just need to feel it and practice. Over the next few weeks, the small group met secretly every few nights. They shared techniques and discoveries. Liu taught them martial arts movements that helped control the energy flow. James showed them the scientific principles behind what they were doing. Kim figured out how to combine their abilities with human technology. Sarah practiced healing techniques on small cuts and bruises. Word spread carefully among humans on Luna Station. Dr. Patel from the medical team joined them after she successfully used energy healing to help a patient's broken bone mend faster. Engineer Thompson figured out how to power small devices with pure thought. Artist Maria Santos discovered she could create beautiful light patterns that changed colors and shapes like living paintings. They called themselves the Quiet Network. The name came from Liu Wei, who said the best learning happened in silence and patience. But their patience was not the slow, careful patience the aliens expected. It was the focused patience of humans who had found something amazing and wanted to master it quickly. Within 3 months, the Quiet Network had grown to 40 people. They developed hand signals and code words to communicate without the aliens noticing. They met in different locations and at different times to avoid suspicion. The aliens remained completely unaware of what was happening. During official lessons, the humans continued to act like slow learners. They asked simple questions and celebrated small victories. Kethvar often told other aliens how patient they needed to be with these primitive humans. But in private, the humans were achieving things that impressed even themselves. Sarah could now heal serious injuries in minutes. James had learned to communicate with other humans across vast distances using pure thought. Liu Wei could move objects weighing hundreds of pounds without touching them. The most amazing discovery came from Maria Santos. She found that human emotions made the essence weaving stronger. When she felt joy, her light creations became brighter and more beautiful. When James felt determined, his healing abilities worked faster. When Liu Wei felt peaceful, his control became perfect. The aliens had never mentioned emotions. They treated essence weaving as a purely mental skill that required calm logic and careful control. But humans were emotional creatures, and their emotions made them powerful in ways the aliens had never imagined. Dr. Chen began to realize something important. The aliens kept talking about how advanced their civilization was and how primitive humans were. But maybe the aliens were the ones who were limited. Maybe their logical, unemotional approach was actually holding them back. As the Quiet Network grew stronger and more skilled, Sarah started to think about the future. How long could they keep this secret? What would happen when the aliens found out? And most importantly, what would the rest of humanity do when they learned that their species had a natural gift for the most advanced technology in the galaxy? 6 months had passed since the aliens arrived. The Quiet Network had grown to over 300 people spread across Earth and Luna Station. They communicated through coded messages and secret meetings. Each member learned to live 2 lives: the struggling student during alien lessons and the powerful essence weaver in private. Sarah had become one of the network's leaders without planning to. People came to her with questions and discoveries. She helped organize the secret meetings and made sure everyone stayed safe. One evening, she received an encrypted message on her tablet. It was from Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a researcher working at the Tokyo Science Center on Earth. The message was simple but exciting. Major breakthrough, need to meet. Can you come to Earth? 3 days later, Sarah sat in a small restaurant in Tokyo. Dr. Tanaka was a small woman with bright eyes who spoke quickly when she was excited. And tonight, she was very excited. Sarah, we've done something amazing, Yuki whispered across the table. But I need to show you, not tell you. Can you meet my team tonight? They met in an old warehouse outside the city. Inside, Sarah found 20 people working with equipment she had never seen before. But as she looked closer, she realized it was not alien technology. It was human technology that had been changed and improved. "Watch this," said David Kim, a young engineer who looked like he had not slept in days. He placed his hands on a communication device about the size of a briefcase. Energy flowed from his fingers into the machine. Lights began blinking and strange sounds filled the air. "David, this is Sarah Chen from Luna Station," Yuki said into a microphone connected to the device. "Hello, Sarah," came a voice from the machine. But Sarah recognized the voice. It was Liu Wei, speaking from Luna Station on the moon. "How is this possible?" Sarah asked. The aliens had communication technology, but it was huge and complicated. This human device was small and simple. "We figured out how to combine essence weaving with human technology," David explained. "The aliens build everything separately, their energy systems, their computers, their communication tools. But humans are good at making things work together. We built a hybrid." Yuki showed Sarah more inventions. There was a healing device that could mend broken bones in hours instead of weeks. There was a power generator that could run on human thought instead of electricity. There was even a small flying craft that responded to the pilot's emotions and intentions. "The aliens think in straight lines," Yuki explained. "They have rules and procedures for everything. But humans think in circles and connections. We see how different things can work together in new ways." Sarah felt amazed and worried at the same time. "This is incredible, but we have to be careful. If the aliens find out what we can really do." "That's why we're telling you," David said. "We need to coordinate better. There are quiet network groups in dozens of cities now. Everyone is making discoveries, but we're not sharing information fast enough." Over the next few weeks, Sarah helped connect the different groups. Scientists in New York had learned to use essence weaving to make computers faster. Artists in Paris were creating light sculptures that could think and respond to people. Doctors in Mumbai were healing diseases that had never been cured before. But the most important discovery came from an unexpected place. Marcus Thompson was a jazz musician from New Orleans. He was not a scientist or engineer. He joined the Quiet Network because his girlfriend was a physicist who had learned essence weaving. Marcus just wanted to understand what she was doing. But Marcus had something the others did not: a lifetime of understanding rhythm and harmony. When he tried essence weaving, he did not think about energy fields or quantum mechanics. He felt the rhythm of the universe itself. "It's like music," he told Sarah during a video call. "Everything has a frequency, a beat, a melody. The aliens try to control it with their minds, but music isn't about control. It's about flow and feeling and being part of something bigger." Marcus had learned to weave energy like composing a song. His creations were not just functional, they were beautiful. When he healed people, they felt peaceful and happy. When he powered machines, they ran smoother and lasted longer. When he communicated over long distances, his messages carried emotions and feelings, not just words. "Play something for me," Sarah asked. Marcus smiled and began to move his hands, like he was conducting an invisible orchestra. Energy flowed around him in waves and spirals. The air filled with colors that pulsed with gentle rhythm. Sarah could hear music even though Marcus was not making any sound. The energy itself was singing. "The aliens have been doing this wrong for thousands of years," Marcus said as the energy slowly faded. "They're trying to be the boss of the universe instead of dancing with it." Word of Marcus's approach spread through the Quiet Network. Musicians, dancers, and artists started teaching scientists and engineers. The combination was powerful. Soon humans were creating essence-weaving techniques that were not just more advanced than alien methods. They were completely different. Dr. Martinez learned to heal by feeling the patient's pain as music and then changing the song to something healthy. Engineer Thompson built machines that responded to human emotions like instruments responding to a musician's touch. Liu Wei developed martial arts forms that could move massive objects by finding the right rhythm and flow. The aliens noticed that humans seemed to be learning faster than expected, but they explained it as natural variation. Some species had a few gifted individuals, they said. They were pleased that humanity was showing such promise. Kethavar often praised Sarah and the other advanced students. "You are learning remarkably quickly," he told her after a lesson where Sarah pretended to struggle with creating a simple light. "Perhaps humans will master basic energy sensing in only 10 or 15 years instead of 20. Sarah smiled and thanked him politely. If only he knew that she could now create energy constructs the size of buildings, heal injuries that would kill a person, and communicate with humans on the other side of the solar system. But the secret was becoming harder to keep. With hundreds of people involved, someone might make a mistake. Someone might get excited and show off. Someone might decide that hiding was wrong and humans deserved to know the truth. Sarah knew that the time for hiding was almost over. Soon, the world would have to choose between continuing the lie or showing the aliens what humans could really do. 2 years had passed since the aliens first arrived. The Galactic Council had decided it was time to officially welcome humanity into their community. They planned a huge ceremony at their grand station orbiting Jupiter. Representatives from dozens of alien species would attend to meet Earth's newest members. The aliens were proud of humanity's progress. In their opinion, humans had learned the basics of energy sensing faster than most species. A few gifted individuals could even create small lights and move tiny objects. This was remarkable for such a young species. Kethavar spoke to the other council members with satisfaction. "The humans show great promise," he reported. "With proper guidance over the next century, they may achieve intermediate-level skills. Their emotional nature makes them unpredictable, but also surprisingly creative." The ceremony was planned to be simple. The humans would demonstrate their basic abilities, sign agreements to follow council laws, and receive technology appropriate for beginning students. They would be assigned support roles in the galactic community, helping with simple tasks while they slowly learned more advanced skills. Sarah stood in her quarters aboard the transport ship heading to Jupiter. Through the window, she could see the massive council station growing larger. It was beautiful, made of materials that shifted color and shape like living crystal. Ships from dozens of worlds docked at ports that extended in all directions. But Sarah was not thinking about the beauty of the station. She was thinking about the choice humanity had to make. The quiet network now included over 2,000 people. They had spread to every continent on Earth and every human settlement in space. They had mastered techniques that some alien species had never even attempted. They had created new forms of essence weaving that the galaxy had never seen. 3 months ago, the network had made their most incredible achievement. Working together across the solar system, they had built a communication array that could transmit thoughts and feelings instantly between Earth and the outer planets. The project required perfect coordination between hundreds of people, using Marcus Thompson's musical approach combined with advanced engineering. When they tested it, something amazing happened. For just a moment, all 2,000 network members felt connected to each other across space. They shared thoughts, emotions, and experiences in a way that created something new, a group consciousness that was still individual, but also united. The aliens had never achieved anything like this. Their essence weaving was powerful, but individual. Each alien worked alone, following ancient methods and rigid rules. But humans had found a way to work together that made them stronger than the sum of their parts. Now, standing in her transport ship quarters, Sarah held a secure communication device that connected her to network members around the solar system. The question they all faced was simple but huge. Should they continue hiding their abilities, or should they show the galaxy what humans could really do? The arguments had been going on for weeks. Some people wanted to keep the secret. They worried about how the aliens might react if they learned that humans had surpassed them in just 2 years. Other people felt that hiding was wrong. Humanity deserved to know about their abilities, and the galaxy deserved to see what humans could contribute. "The decision has to be made now," came Liu Wei's voice through the device. "We're running out of time." "I vote we show them," said Marcus Thompson from Earth. "Music is meant to be shared, not hidden. What we've learned belongs to all humanity, not just us." "It's risky," warned Dr. Martinez. "We don't know how they'll react when they realize we've been lying to them for 2 years." "We haven't been lying," Sarah said quietly. "We've been learning." They told us it would take decades, so we didn't think it was important to mention our progress. Sarah made her decision. I'm going to tell them. During the ceremony, I'm going to show them what we can really do. All of us together? Asked Yuki Tanaka from Tokyo. Sarah smiled. All of us together. The ceremony began in the station's great hall. It was enormous, with a domed ceiling that showed images of distant galaxies. Representatives from alien species filled floating seats arranged in circles around a central platform. Sarah had never seen so many different forms of life in one place. There were the tall, graceful Zephyrians with their blue-gray skin. The crystalline collective looked like living gems that reflected light in patterns too complex for human eyes to follow completely. The void-touched appeared as shifting shadows that seemed to exist partially in another dimension. Dozens of other species sat in their designated areas, all watching the humans with polite interest. Kethvar stood at the center of the platform and began the ceremony with formal words about welcoming new members to the galactic community. He spoke about patience, learning, and the long journey ahead for humanity. Then it was Sarah's turn to speak for her species. She walked to the center of the platform and looked around at all the alien faces watching her. Her heart was beating fast, but her voice was steady when she spoke. Honored members of the Galactic Council, she began. Humanity is grateful for your guidance and welcome. We have learned much in the past 2 years. Murmurs of approval came from the alien representatives. This was the expected response. Humble gratitude from a primitive species. We would like to show our appreciation, Sarah continued, by sharing what we have learned. She activated her communication device and sent a signal across the solar system. Instantly, every member of the quiet network began to work together. The space around Jupiter's moons suddenly blazed with light. Complex patterns appeared on the surface of Europa, geometric designs that spelled out greetings in dozens of alien languages. Io began pulsing with rhythmic energy that created music audible even inside the space station. Ganymede's surface rearranged itself into a three-dimensional artwork that showed the history of life in the galaxy. Inside the station, Sarah and the other human representatives began to weave energy in ways the aliens had never seen. Light flowed between them like liquid music. The air filled with colors that responded to their emotions. Healing energy spread through the hall, making everyone feel peaceful and strong. But the most amazing part was the connection. Every alien in the hall could suddenly feel what the humans were feeling: joy, wonder, gratitude, and hope, all shared freely. It was like Marcus Thompson's music, but made of pure emotion and thought. The silence that followed was complete. Alien representatives who had lived for centuries sat frozen in shock. The crystalline collective stopped their eternal light patterns. Even the ancient void touched became completely solid and visible, staring at the humans in amazement. Finally, Kethvar found his voice. It shook as he spoke. How is this possible? These are master-level techniques. Some of our oldest species have never achieved group consciousness weaving. How could you learn this in just 2 years? Sarah smiled and looked around at her fellow humans. Then she looked back at the stunned aliens. You told us it would take years to learn, she said simply. By the time you noticed our progress, we had already mastered it. The Great Hall remained silent for long minutes after Sarah's demonstration ended. Alien representatives sat frozen, trying to understand what they had just witnessed. Some looked afraid. Others looked amazed. A few looked angry. Kethvar was the first to move. He stood slowly and walked toward Sarah. His large eyes were wide with confusion and something that might have been hurt feelings. You have been lying to us, he said. His voice was quiet, but everyone in the hall could hear it. For 2 years you pretended to be struggling students while you were really learning, Sarah finished for him. We were really learning. You told us it would take decades to master these skills. We didn't realize we were moving so quickly until we were already far ahead of your lessons. An alien that looked like a walking tree made of silver metal spoke next. This was Elder Thrix, of the Helix Empire, one of the oldest members of the council. Impossible, Thrick said. His voice sounded like wind through metal leaves. My people have studied essence weaving for 3,000 years. We are considered masters, yet what you just showed us is beyond our abilities. How did a primitive species accomplish this? Sarah looked around at her fellow humans. Dr. Martinez nodded encouragingly. Liu Wei gave her a small smile. She could feel the support of the entire quiet network flowing through their connection. Maybe that's the problem, Sarah said carefully. You keep calling us primitive, but you're thinking about this the wrong way. You approach essence weaving like it's a subject in school. Memorize the rules, follow the procedures, practice the same techniques your teachers used thousands of years ago. She gestured to Marcus Thompson, who was standing with the other human representatives. Marcus is a musician. When he learned essence weaving, he didn't try to control energy. He learned to dance with it, to feel its rhythm and harmony. That's not primitive. That's a completely different way of understanding the universe. Marcus stepped forward and began to weave energy as he spoke. When I play jazz, I don't just follow the written music. I listen to what the other musicians are doing. I feel the mood of the audience. I let the music flow through me and change as it needs to. That's how we learned to work with essence weaving. The energy around Marcus began to sing, literally, creating musical notes that filled the hall with beautiful sound. Other human representatives joined in, each adding their own part to create a complex harmony of light, sound, and feeling. A representative of the crystalline collective, a being that looked like a walking diamond, spoke in a voice like breaking glass. This should not be possible. Essence weaving requires discipline, control, years of careful study. Does it? Asked Dr. Martinez. Or does it require understanding? We've been studying the universe through science, art, music, martial arts, and meditation for thousands of years. When you showed us essence weaving, we recognized the patterns. We just needed to learn your specific techniques, Louis demonstrated by moving through a series of martial arts forms. As he moved, massive objects in the hall began to float and dance around him. In my tradition, we learn that the strongest force is the one that flows with natural patterns. Instead of fighting against them, you try to force energy to obey you. We learn to join with it. The aliens looked uncomfortable. Some were whispering among themselves in languages the human translators couldn't understand. Finally, an ancient being that seemed to be made of living shadow spoke. This was Whisper of Voids, the oldest member of the Void Touched. When she spoke, her voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. Young humans, she said, what you have achieved is remarkable, but power without wisdom can be dangerous. How do we know you will use these abilities responsibly? Sarah had been expecting this question. The same way you trust any species. By working with us and learning about us. We're not asking to take over or replace anyone. We want to contribute and help. She looked around the hall at all the different alien species. For 2 years, you've been teaching us about galactic civilization. You've shown us cooperation, peace, and shared knowledge. Those are human values, too. We want to be part of building something better together. Dr. Yuki Tanaka stepped forward, with a small device in her hands. We've designed this using both human technology and essence weaving principles. It's a healing tool that can cure diseases we've never been able to treat before. We want to share it with all council species. She activated the device and gentle energy flowed out from it. Several aliens who had been injured or sick for years suddenly stood straighter as their pain disappeared. You want to share your discoveries with us? Asked Kethvar. He sounded surprised. Of course, Sarah said. That's what teachers and students do, isn't it? Share knowledge to help everyone learn and grow. Slowly, the mood in the hall began to change. Fear and anger gave way to curiosity and excitement. Alien representatives started asking questions about human techniques. They wanted to understand how emotions could enhance essence weaving, how music could guide energy flow, how group consciousness could make everyone stronger. Over the following hours, something unprecedented happened in the council hall. Instead of the formal ceremony they had planned, the gathering became a massive learning session. Humans demonstrated their techniques while aliens shared knowledge they had never taught to other species before. The crystalline collective showed how they created perfect geometric patterns with their essence weaving. Marcus Thompson learned to incorporate their mathematical precision into his musical approach, creating songs that were both beautiful and perfectly structured. The Void taught Liu Wei how to partially exist in other dimensions during his martial arts forms. In return, he showed them how to use emotional harmony to maintain connection across dimensional barriers. Elder Thrix of the Helix Empire learned Dr. Martinez's healing techniques and combined them with 3,000 years of biological knowledge to create medical treatments that neither species could have developed alone. 3 days later, when the gathering finally ended, everything had changed. The Galactic Council voted to establish the first interspecies learning centers, with humans and aliens working together as both teachers and students. Sarah found herself appointed as the first director of human-galactic relations, responsible for organizing the exchange of knowledge between humanity and the dozens of council species. But the most important change was philosophical. The galaxy had learned that being advanced didn't mean being superior. Different species had different strengths, and the best progress came from combining different approaches rather than following the same old methods. 6 months later, Sarah stood in a new research facility on Luna Station. Through the windows, she could see ships from dozens of worlds coming and going. Humans and aliens worked together in the labs below, discovering things that neither group could have imagined alone. Kethvar joined her at the window. The Zephyrian had become one of her closest friends and collaborators. "I owe you an apology," he said quietly. "We came here thinking we were the teachers and you were the students." "We were wrong," Sarah smiled. "You weren't wrong. You were teachers. You taught us about essence weaving, about galactic civilization, about working together for common goals. The fact that we learned faster than expected doesn't change that." "And what did you teach us?" Kethvar asked. Sarah thought about that question as she watched a human child and an alien child playing together in the station's garden below. They were weaving light and sound together, creating something new and wonderful. "Maybe we taught you that there's always more than one way to solve a problem," she said, "and that the best solutions usually come from the most unexpected places." Outside the window, the stars shone bright with promise, and for the first time in galactic history, the future was being written by many species working together as equals.